The story begins as we watch Cry, a regular person who somehow ended up leading the greatest team of treasure hunters in the world. But what he really wanted was a quiet, peaceful life in the village where he was born. But becoming a treasure hunter even was the most ridiculous dream of his childhood friends. And his childhood friends were obsessed with becoming famous heroes, exploring ancient world packed with riches and dangerous monsters. And he was trapped into mid of all that. Then the story starts with Cry recalling his younger days with his friends as they promised to form a party and visit treasure vault around the world to attain its riches and glory. Currently, an older Cry walks through the imperial capital revealing how treasure hunters are considered stars in the city. They travel around the world to various ruins to loot their treasure vaults for their relics. Along the way, they face monsters called phantoms. But glory and vast riches can be attained in exchange for overcoming these dangers. Cry arrives at the pub where famous First Step clan are holding interview for potential new member. As he explains, clan is a collection of parties that come together to assist one another, and they are also solo hunter treasures, but only they are limit where they can go, and it's vital for them to get into good party and become stronger alongside their comrade. But unfortunately, Cry was unable to do that. After that, a girl from behind strikes out a conversation asking if he's here to form a party too and apologize for the sudden chat. She introduces herself as Runa Ruenbach. She explained that she's level 3 hunter and she's a solo hunter. Then the guy responds introducing himself as Cry Andre. But then when Runa offers to shake his hand, he doesn't take it. And then she is surprised that huge crowd gather for interview, and then she has been exploring solo until now. Then she struggled with her treasure shrine called the Wolf Den, which led her to finally consider joining a party. Then another explorer nearby overheard their conversation, and then they got into the matter and think Runa is out of her depth for trying to tackle that treasure shrine at level 3. And he tells her that a place like that isn't for amateur like Runa. Runa got offended by his tone, and then she pulled out her blade ready to fight him. But then one of the clansmen blow a whistle to get them to stop and informs that fighting outside will result in them losing their chance to joining their clan. Then the two quickly fall back in line as Cry tries to hide himself from them. They enter the hall and Runa is stunned by number of hunters. Before them, she feels bad for Cry about hearing that this is his 5th time at the interview for hunting skills. And hunter skills is everything. Those with talent instantly make a name for themselves and climb the ranks. However, those less fortunate cling to few chances they got. Arc Brave Party catch the attention of Runa Cry, give exposition revealing them to be the strongest party that is currently recruiting. They managed to complete a level 7 treasure vault with 6 members. This proves that they are elite of the elite. And their leader, who is named Arc, is a level 7 hunter. Sadly, they have never accepted a new member. The one of these events, Runa also noticed an empty desk and wonders who is it belong to. Then the Greg, level 4 hunter, interrupts to inform her that the table belongs to the party that originally founded the First Step clan. They go by the name Grieving Souls. They came to the capital as youngsters, but they are so OP and talent that they quickly made a name for themselves as one of the top parties in the city. It also happens to be the party of Gray's childhood friends. Then Greg reveals that the reason for what I turn out is because there are rumors that this legendary party is accepting a new member for the first time in years. That's why a lot of solo hunters also have come to get accepted. After that, one of the participants speaks up asking where the grievers are, and he boldly declares that he only came to join them because they are considered the best. And full of himself, he bragged that one day he will become the strongest explorer ever, revealing he is already at level 4 certified explorer. Then suddenly a girl from management staff called Tino steps forward and confronts him, and without holding back she tells him that get out of here, and some of other staff members rush to calm her down, reminding that they are not supposed to stir up any trouble today. But the girl isn't having any of it, and she snaps back saying that her sister would have done the same thing if she were here. The tension builds up and they two prepare to fight. Then Chris, sensing the incoming chaos, he tells Ruda that they should get out of here before things get messy. Ruda follows him out. Just then Gilbert charges. Just then Gilbert tries to attack the girl Tino, but before he can land a blow, Tino quickly notices Cry's presence and she locks eye with him. And just Gilbert charges, she dodges his attack and corners Cry, instead fighting Gilbert. And Tino turns out calling Cry master and ask him what he's doing here. Then it is revealed that Cry isn't some just random explorer. He is actually the leader of grieving souls and the clan master that everyone has been talking about. Cry begins to explain that everything started several years ago when he and his group left their village as fresh newcomers. They quickly conquered several beginner treasure vaults one after another, and one day while exploring a vault, a monster attacked Cry, but one of his friends killed it just in time. The friend praised Cry for acting as a decoy. Then Cry, however, knew the truth. He hadn't even noticed the monster was. After that, he realized that all of his friends share the same dreams, but his talent is not far equal to them. Then he recognized himself as an ordinary guy in comparison of them and started to feel like a burden. And he knew his friends were too kind to not tell him to leave. So he decided on his own to quit the party. When he tried to talk to them about it, they all dodged the topic, saying they still hadn't chosen a leader yet. Then the red-haired guy in the group suggested that Cry should be their leader, and other immediately agreed, saying Cry was perfect for the role since he was good at giving speeches and motivating everyone. So Cry didn't even get the chance to refuse. After that, flashback ends with Ruda and Craig still in disbelief that Cry is level 8 hunter and clan master of the first step. Ark comes to talk to their boss about his lateness, but Tino recalls that a blondie with a fake pretty boy and orders him to stay away from her master. She doesn't want the guy to infect the boss with his superficiality. Ark guesses that he was observing the crowd by blending him with them. Then just Cry confessed that he overslept and found himself among them. The reason why he is not dressed up because he didn't have time to get ready. Then Tino wants Ark to get punished for insulting the master, as she is level 4 solo hunter who is affiliated with clan. She is also an apprentice of Liz Smart, one of the Cry childhood friends and member of the top party. Then Ark asks if master found a good candidate while he was among them. Cry was interested to know if Ark would pick a new member if he said that he had someone in his mind. Then the party leader says that he would trust the guild master's eye and accept them. Ark is against this, but Tino assumes that he is going to choose her and informs Cry that she intended to join him instead of Ark. After that, Gilbert starts to cause a scene again, loudly announcing that he is going to be one to join Ark's party. Then Cry recalls that Gilbert boasted about being level 4 and wonders if he is even in a party at all. Then Gilbert brushes it off and saying it shouldn't matter. Then Cry starts thinking that maybe this guy could become an strong treasure hunter if Ark train him right. But Cry admittedly knows his eye for talent isn't great, so it might come down to luck. Then Cry just tells Gilbert he will recommend him to Ark, but there is a catch, and he asks Gilbert what he thinks is the most important thing for an explorer. Then Gilbert can't answer this, and then Cry tells him not to lose, as he wants if Gilbert lacks strength, he could put his entire party in danger. So Cry needs to see if Gilbert has what it takes. Then he casually mentioned that ever since he became an explorer, he has never lost once. Then the crowd was shocked by this, though Cry thinks of himself that the only reason he hasn't lost anything because he has never actually been in a proper fight. Then Cry pulls off a ring from his finger and tells everyone that whoever managed to get their hands on this relic will be one to be recommended to Ark. He tosses the ring into the air. Gilbert catches it, but before he can celebrate, Tino sends him flying with a powerful kick. The ring rolls to the ground, and suddenly the entire group erupts into chaos as everyone scrambles to grab. So the place turned upside down. Meanwhile, Cry casually slips out, leaving the participants to wreck the tavern over his little test. And the next day, Vice Clan Master Eva informs that the tavern incident had made the news. She reveals that the venue was completely wrecked due to his recklessness. Cry then immediately asked if there were any civilian casualties, and he is relieved to hear that there was none. However, Eva adds that the Explorer Association wants to have a word with him. Cry wonders if Ark had anything to say about the chaos. Then Eva tells him that Ark just laughed after reading the article. Then Cry shakes his head thinking Ark is far too easy going and suggests that they charge the repairs bill to Ark's account and send him to the association as well. Eva then tells Cry he relies on Ark too much this time, though the association specifically asks for Cry. Cry knows that the branch manager will come to see him instead if he doesn't go. Then he is reluctant to go outside without an escort, and his disguise relics got broken. This is a mask that allows one to change their face so they don't get recognized. Eva doesn't think anyone is going to attack him in broad daylight at the capital, so he feels like it's easy for her to say, since it has never happened to her. He accepts that he has no other option but to go. So as soon as he gets there, he aggressively apologizes to association manager for all the trouble he has caused. He assures that branch manager that his actions were not out of his malice and points out that he made sure that no civilian got hurt. As soon as the chaos begins, he just had let it play out, and then he can see that he is trying to rush through. He someone cry that it only the building that got damaged, which is better than people getting hurt. He also argues that no one has made a formal complaint yet. The master reveals that he and the owner at the pub are very close association, and he knows the guy to be a very nice person. So Cry is sure that he will get forgiven. Then branch manager assistant begs for him to calm down and ask her boss not to scold the lad so hard. Then manager utters that he hasn't even rebuked him, and yet she hands Cry a book as Gar suggests that they will still need to make an example of the first step plan, even though nobody officially complained. The associative get all sorts of jobs for hunters. Some pay very little, others have short deadlines, and a number of them are stupidly difficult and nobody will do them. Hunters call these type of jobs course. Cry confidently takes a seat after that. He expresses that being given a code to do is quite the predicament he hopes. Then Ga would understand since he is an ex-hunter, but one look from the manager makes him fall in line. He flicks through the book and picks a level 3 job, thinking that it will be easier. He jokes that it's corpse retrieval when it's a rescue mission. Little does he know that he has chosen the most dangerous one. The master goes to see Ark to offload the mission onto him. However, the fake pretty boy is not around, and Tino reveals that he was summoned by some nobles. She shows that she ended up getting the ring as she couldn't let anyone else get hold of. So he asks her if she tried to free the girl, think that he is finally going to ask her on a date. But she runs away as soon as she hears that. He got a quest from association. The master unleashes his hounding chain to bring her back. Then Tino believes that her innocent heart is in pieces because he deceived her with the bed, and which she agreed, thinking that they were going for ice cream, not knowing that he's getting her to go on this scrappy course. Cry doesn't see the deception. He understands that it's going to be difficult for her to do the mission alone. So he asks Runa, Greg, and Gilbert to join her. Tino is not happy to be working with them, but Greg still finds hard to believe that Cry is clan master of steps. He assumed that this means that he is famous thousand tricks. The other two are surprised because that would make him a level 8 hunter. Tino steps forward hoping that they understand how great his master is and wants them to fall to their knees. Then Cry pleads with her not to be so confrontal. He recalls 6 years ago when him and his friends first went to the association. Cry was reluctant to enter, but Luke kicked the door down, demanding to know who is the strongest swordsman in the room. When he gave his name, starting that he was the greatest swordman in the world, Liz didn't want to be left out, and she said that she was the greatest thief in the world. She also expresses their intention to register as a treasure hunters. The receptionist gave Cry a form to fill, and that was when he realized that they had never discussed what their party name would be. Then Cry walks the reception desk to register the party, but deep down he was hoping that they will regret making him the leader. So when asked to choose a name for the party, he picks the ugliest thing he can think of and calls them Grieving Soul for absolutely no reason. The rest of the group hated it at first, but thinking the name was dark and depressive. But the moment Cry tried to use his awful naming skills as an excuse to stalk down his leader, they all suddenly changed their minds, claiming they love the name. Then fast forward to the present, Cry calls a meeting with everyone he is trying to dump his work onto. Greg is still in disbelief that they can't wrap his head around the fact that Cray is actually the guild master of the grief. But Gilbert refuses to believe any of it, since Thousand Tricks is supposed to be the strongest person in the capital, and Cray looks like he has never even seen inside of a training hall. Tino immediately jumps to Cray's defense, insisting that Gilbert is just too big to understand Cray's power. Meanwhile, Cray is standing there clueless, as if wondering what power she is even talking about. He knows that he only gets called the strongest because his friends constantly show him with undeserved deserved praise. But whenever he asked if Gilbert and others are going to take the job, of course Gilbert refuses because he is still not buying that Gray is the strongest in the city. Greg then tries to shut him up nervously about what could happen if the actual strong person in the capital loses his temper. But Gilbert, being the judge, he just shoves his finger up Greg's nose since Gilbert clearly has no interest in cooperating. Then Chris shrugs it off and moves to Greg. Then Greg is more than happy to accept Gray's request so that the only left to ask is Runa. Given that the quest is in Wolf Den, Gray figures it is perfect fit for her since she was already planning to clear it. Runa isn't exactly thrilled with the group she is struck with, but she agrees to go along with it. Gray pleased to hear that, so he tells Tino she can ask anyone else from the clan to help it if she needs it. Tino practically begging plead with Gray to join the team himself, but he shuts her down immediately with Tino's party situation. Now sorted, Gray turns to leave her, but of course Gilbert can't just let things go, and he upsetting that Gray is ignoring him, so he challenges Gray to duel. If he loses, he will join the team. Gray, who absolutely hate getting dragged into duel, comes up with a quick fix that he agrees to duel with only if Tino fights in his place. Tino is more happy with this arrangement, mainly because she is furious with Gilbert for daring to insult and doubt her master. She is also eager to show off her skill, and she gives Cry a little demonstration of just how flexible she has become. Then Gilbert might have gotten his face smashed into by Tino yesterday, but he's running his mouth claiming that he has just got caught off guard and that there is no way he will lose to her again. After that, he beats Tino. He says he is coming for Cry next. Cry, already irritated, has absolutely no desire to fight anyone today. But since Gilbert is so cocky, Cry casually points out that Tino is level 4 just like him. Then Tino just says there is no way that she could ever lose to someone like Gilbert, and to prove her point, she drops her weapon on the ground, daring him to fight Runa. And Greg are getting nervous because Tino is strong, but fighting without weapons seems like a terrible idea. Normally Tino would win hand down because even though they are at the same level, she earned all her experience doing solo missions and has ton of practice fighting other people. So she would win, but unarmed. But Gilbert got the Purgatory Sword, which could trip the odd in his favor if he uses it right, or at least it could have if he hadn't thrown his sword down to deciding to fight barehanded. That was without a question a dumb move. But Gilbert won't tolerate being looked down, so he insisted on fighting on equal terms. Now Tino is even more confident that she will win, so she casually mentioned that she will grab some ice cream with Cry after she is done beating Gilbert up. Then the fight began as she charges him, aiming at his face. Gilbert dodges the first blow, but he can't avoid a follow-up vicious kick to his face that sent him flying just like the last time. It looks like it's over, but credit to Gilbert that he gets back and charges in again. Note that it helps him got caught in a chokehold almost immediately, but at least the guy got some spirit after some effort and training on his part. Gilbert finally managed to break free from Tino's hold, but unfortunately for him, the moment he does, she drops him to the ground with her chop on the back of his head. So he's definitely not getting this time. Tino celebrates her victory. She thanks Gray for helping her become so strong, even though Gray never actually did a thing to train her. Greg and Runa are left absolutely floored by Tino's strength, while Gilbert just can't accept that someone might actually be stronger than him. Since the day he picked up a sword, Gilbert always believed that he was destined to be a hunter. His training allowed him to surpass professional swordsmen with ease, and when he finally reached the age to register as a hunter, he headed straight for the capital and formed a small party to start clearing world up. Until now, he had never known defeat. Even though Tino isn't fond of him, she still respects Gilbert's skills, so she encouraged him to pick up his sword and keep fighting. But Gilbert is stubborn and his pride refuses, so Tino shakes her head disappointed, knowing that his foolish pride like this is a one-way ticket to get him killed. As much as Gilbert hated to admit it, but Tino is right. If he has been in a real fight, he had been dead several times over now. Now he is forced to confront the harsh reality that he is not as strong as he thought right now. Then Cry, casually guessing that Gilbert probably left his previous party due to a difference in his strength, overpowered his flow, caused Craig a spot. Craig goes on to explain that he has dealt with similar issues in his own party, though he didn't quit even if he might have wanted to. Gilbert totally misinterprets this, thinking it seems Cry completely outclassed his teammates, that the grieving soal, the strongest party in the capitals, is mile ahead of everyone. So this gives Gilbert a whole new understanding of what it really means to be strongest. Then Then Cry notices Gilbert's sword and gives it a light tap just to see that it's capable of his command flame. Immediately, a start pouring out of it, much larger than anything Gilbert has never been able to summon. Then Gilbert is absolutely floored that he owned the sword for ages, but he has never managed to produce flame even close to this, let alone control them. The way Cray just did was a mere tap, and even without grabbing the handle in his world. After that, Cry explained that in this world, mana material is the core substances of this world. Even though they can't see it, the way it interacts with treasure vault and create their unique environment is something that is still being studied. He reads a report on how the White Wolf Den was once the home of wolf monster called Silver Moons. They were eradicated due to uncontrolled hunting for their fur, and soon after the treasure vault appeared along with a blood-soaked wolf phantom, the master finds this report to be too scary. Eva points out that he is the one who sent Tina, No, and the others where he feels like they will be fine since the vault is only level 3. Cry is also grateful to his assistant because she's the one who gave him the information about Gilbert's old party. With the blade already spread out, but Master tries to downplay it since he's a collector of relics. He wants to buy Gilbert's weapon, but his assistant advice is against it. The grieving soul party splits profit among its members regardless of the contribution, so Cry gets a lots of money for doing nothing. The guild master goes to charge his chain relic. After using it, some clan member help him with it. One of guys informs Master about Wolf Phantom that decimated a party of level 3 hunter on the northern road. People suspect that it came from the White Wolf Den, meaning that there was a mass spawning of phantoms there. Was also been reports of the phantom becoming stronger, so association is in talks about increasing the level of the treasure vault. Cry is surprised to hear that the missing party he sent others to recover were level 5. He checks the jog paper to confirm that. Then clans people are mortified to hear that their master sent Tino and her party of level 4 to a treasure vault where level 5 hunters went missing. Then Cry realizes his mistakes and leaves. He tries to assure himself that the party will be fine and hopes that Gilbert charged his blade. Before heading out, meanwhile, the hodgepodge party can sense something strange about the area. Tino assures them that Cry has already calculated everything and knows that they can handle the situation. Everyone wrote a bill before they left, but the party leader is sure that they will be fine. Back at the HQ, the master is panicking because he messed up. He has no other option but to equip himself and so save the party. He picks as many relics as possible. So Eva comes in just as he is about to leave and notices he is carrying citrus lime, which violates imperial law. But he swears that it's not. Then the assistant notes that it has zero safeties. The thing has no brake and it can never have a steer. The relic is infamous detective night hiker and hopes that he has safe landing all the time. While the party are confronted by a wolf phantom that has a weapon and armor, which is in a shock to them, but they brace themselves to face it. Then the party struggled and managed to defeat the monster with some decent teamwork. From that exchange, Runa is sure that a creature of that caliber would not appear in a level 3 treasure vault. Then Runa suggests that they should retreat. The situation is not what they were led to believe. The people they were supposed to rescue might already be dead. But Tino, stubborn as ever, refuses to back down, arguing that they haven't even entered the vault. Yet Greg pushes them, saying survival is more important than any mission. But Tino calmly explains that he is quote wrong. They are not here to collect corpses. She is certain that those people are still alive and they are just following the plan of a level 8 hunter. She goes to say that you and the purgatory sword running out of mana is probably part of Gray's big plan, teaching them not to lean so much on relics. They get closer to the treasure vault and notices several crimson wolves inside, all equipped with armor and weapons. It hits them that the wolf they faced earlier wasn't just some random. There are more. So Tino then explained that the White Wolf Den was built to accommodate the massive silver moon wolf monster that originally lived here. She is convinced that wolves won't be able to move easily inside the vault due to their size and suggests they had to engage them. But before she can act, Gilbert, being rash as ever, decides to charge at the monster, thinking he can take them down if he just disarms them. Runa shakes her head, thinking he's an idiot, but Gilbert, of course, insists the purgatory sword is stronger than any regular weapon, even without mana. Tino, however, tells him to stop acting recklessly because she is the leader and her job is to bring everyone back alive. She is certain her master is testing her leadership skill and bringing her team home in one piece is bare minimum to pass the test. Tino explains her plan that she and Runa, being the fastest, will draw the wolf's attention while while the other will attack from behind. She points out that once they close the distance, the wolf ranged weapon will be useless. She makes it clear that there will be no sacrifices and she won't let anyone to be used as shield. Meanwhile, Cry is flying towards them. His only concern was that Tino survives until he arrives. He doesn't care if she has to use her teammate as shield. As long as she lives back at the world, team follow her plan. And after some hard work, they manage to defeat all the wolves. But Tino, exhausted, thinks this job is completely unreasonable as they are catching their breath. More phantom appears. Then Tino takes a moment to reflect on her team. She admits that they all in the party lineup isn't bad. Greg works well with everyone thanks to his experience. Gilbert might be a loudmouth, but he's strong. And Ruda doesn't stand out much, but her enemy detection skills are spontaneous. And in fact, it's because Runa that Tino has been able to focus on fighting. Then as they take on the new wave of monster, Tino think of herself that her master must have calculated every little detail. So he thinks he's like a god with how perfect his plan is. While fighting Gilbert, then start thinking about his all-party member. He remembers how he pushed them too hard, frustrated that they couldn't keep with him. He knew that they were trying their best, but the gap between their abilities and he just kept growing wider. And that's why he eventually left the party. Now though he finally gets it, understand why they were so desperate. He realizes he never considered their feelings, and it hits him that he had no idea that fighting alongside a team as equal could feel this good. With that thought in mind, they defeated the monster and make their way into a large room. Tino suddenly senses a presence ahead. She's convinced that it's the boss and it's a big one. Then Greg immediately cautiously suggests that they run out, but Tino, unfazed, points out that if they come this far without a scratch, so why not take down the boss too? Greg remains hesitant and Tino tells him that safe mission don't help people grow, but she admits that caution has its place, but sometimes they just need to go with a flow. Greg, after thinking, agrees that she has a point. Then he explains once a hunter reaches level 4, they can make a living just by completing treasure vault beneath their level. He admits that every time he thought a battle was unwinnable, he avoided it, and then he watched many of his comrades die. Tino was sure that Greg joined First Step because he wanted to change that mindset, and she believes that's why her master placed him in his party. Greg isn't convinced, but Tino assures him that her master wouldn't have chosen someone he didn't believe in. She explained that her master's goal was to save all of them, and that he's like a god in how he operates. She's certain this group wasn't thrown together by chance. Everything was calculated by him. Runa is still unsure and wonders aloud why he picked all of the people. But Tino, after a brief pause, jokes that it might be because of her big boobs. And without missing a beat, she continues ahead, leaving Runa puzzled and blushing, asking what she even means by that. After that, we see Cray flying over the forest near the treasure vault. And of course, he can't spot Tina anywhere. He grumbles that his relic is way too fast and wonders who the heck makes something without brakes. Then he enters the vault, crashing into wall without the wall. As he flies inside, meanwhile, Tino and her crew are facing the vault boss, a massive white bull. It lunges at them and they manage to dodge all, thinking the same thing. This thing was too strong. Tino then notices the boss isn't wearing a helmet, so she figures its head might be the weak spot. Determined to overcome this trial set by her master, she presses on. So Gilbert then steps up and blocks the monster attack, while Greg rushes in and gets launched backward from the sheer power of the beast. Tino, quick on her feet, uses her agility to close the gap, dodging every swipe the bull throws at her. Runa observes Tino and she's impressed because there is not a single shade of fear in Tino. The monster then turns its attention to Greg and his sword snaps as he tries to block the beast. Then moves in Tino, but she takes the chance by climbing his weapon to deliver the final blow to take it down. But just as they catch their breath, they notice that Phantom managed to slash Tino's leg. Ruda rushes over, asking if she's okay, but Tina waves her off, saying she's got a potion and she quickly heals herself. Then we see that Grey looks distraught over his broken sword, but Gilbert bluntly tells him to be thankful he's still breathing. Greg agrees inside, saying that he just got to find the missing people now. So Tino hands him the sword of the boss they just defeated. Suddenly, they were ambushed by 4 monsters, all resembling the bull. They just fought. They can't believe 4 of them at once. So Tino feels the pressure, thinking this is way too much even for them. Tino feels like her master has given them a task that might be too difficult for the party. The leader stands out and points to the nearest passage, which is to their right. She is sure that if they can get inside, the bosses will not be able to reach them. Since the ceilings are low and the passage is narrow, The boss are not so dumb, so they block it, and two guys decide to stay back and create an opportunity for the girls to escape since they are nimbler. Tino refuses to leave anyone behind and comes up with a plan to take out one blocking their way. Everyone lands their attack, which gives Tino the chance to fire a blast using Craig's ring. She received training on how to use it from the master, so she hits her target. The boss drops its weapon as it cries in pain. Gilbert gets too eager and dashes in for the final blow, but he is knocked into the next attack, and the next attack after the others can't leave him behind. Craig comes crashing in and hits the wolf, and they are shocked to see that the wolf fear him. One of them attacks, but Cry is protected by a relic of his. The creature falls back stunned as he reveals that he has 17 lives. He activates some of his relics to perform the end of a series level attack. It looks like so cool, but the dust settles. The creature didn't take that much damage. Cry discloses that his shooting rings are not that powerful. They are all bark and 0 bite. The other monster prepared to attack, but he pulls out the vital around his neck and shoots it with a stuns the boss, allowing them to escape through the passage. The party think that the master lagged behind to act as the rear guard, but he's just slow. Tino recalls how her master and his friends saved her from some bad actors when she was younger. From that day, she wanted to join the grieving soul. Then the flashback ends when they escape into the cave. The master commands Tino on keeping her party alive in this terrible situation. He heals her with one of his relics. Gilbert's commentaries on it, and Cry intentionally reveals that he uses relics for everything. He tells them that he didn't defeat the bosses when they ask what he doesn't think it's the important thing now. He orders them to walk as he leads the way. The clan master doesn't know where the exit is, and it makes him want to puke. So this is recap of starting episodes of The Grieving Soul. And if you like the video, please subscribe and hit the bell button to get notification for upcoming videos. And please like the video and share it with your friends. Thank you guys. See you next time.